Okay, so I had you guys open up the walk animation for Mr. Scorpion here. That download link is here, and that also gets you the Scorpion rig final and the texture. Go ahead and you'll just right click on that file, Scorpion, and you can go to extract all or 7-zip extract to directory. And you'll get walk, skin, texture, and Scorpion rig final. So go ahead and open up the walk animation. Should look something like that, which is insane. Definitely go into your animation settings. You can just go to Windows, Settings and Preferences, Windows Settings, Preferences. Windows is at the top. And we want to click on Animation on the left. And we want to set the evaluation mode from parallel to DG. I honestly don't know what that means, but it just makes it to where when you watch the animation, it evaluates all frames. I think I looked it up at one point, and it said some weird stuff, and I was like, alright, whatever, I don't care, it just works. And then go down to time slider, and then you want to change it from playing every frame to 30 FPS times 1, and then just click save. And then when you play it, he should play the walk animation. So we did this last time. If you weren't here, interested in learning how the heck we did this, that tutorial is up on the Richland Gaming YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and then just do a search for Richland Gaming, and it should be there in the playlist for this term. Pretty cool. So far we've rigged this guy from scratch. Just pulled a model offline, done a little animation on him, and now today what I want us to do is to do these other animations. We're just going to do some quick ones, nothing crazy, and then I want to put this guy in Unreal, and then we will complete our cycle of basically rigging a character from scratch, animating it, and putting it in a game, which is pretty cool.
What did you do under time slider?
Change it to 30 FPS times 1. You see that? So settings, preferences, click on time slider, and down at the bottom where it says playback speed, change that to 30 FPS times 1. If you open up your Scorpion and the texture's not on it, try tapping 6 on your keyboard. If that doesn't work, he's still gray. Make sure that you go to File, Open Scene, and do that, and make sure the texture, which is skin, is in the same directory as your file, and Maya should find it. Sometimes when you double click on your Maya file and it opens up directly, it opens Maya up, it doesn't pull in the texture. Or if you wanted to pull in texture, you can go to, what is it, Windows General Editor's File Path Editor, and then use that. We did that one time, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we got our walk animation here. We're going to crank out a couple other animations. So let's first of all, we need to get a couple files here out of Maya. So the first file that we're going to get out of here, we're going to export our walk. We will also need to export the character file itself, which we'll call it the rig. And then we'll have to animate these real quick and export the rest of them. So I'll try and make this as painless as possible. Yeah. So this looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and export it. So go up to File and just go to Export All. File, Export All. And then down at the bottom, I want to change that to FBX export. The little file name, change that to FBX export. Yeah, you have to scroll down in the list. FBX export. I think we've done this before. And then on the right hand side, you'll see a bunch of options under file type specific settings. First option we're going to turn on, we're just exporting animation right now. So you want to go down to animation, open that up, make sure the animation checkbox is on. And then below that, very important, is a checkbox that says bake animation. Okay, bake animation. This animation is 24 frames. You always just want to kind of check that. Looks like it's automatically doing what it's supposed to be doing, so we're good. Down below where it says deformed models, you can turn that off. We are only exporting animation right now. Deformed models would be if we're exporting like, you know, the model and then also like the skinning information. Okay, so we're not. This is just animation export purely. And nothing actually else matters there. So go ahead and navigate to whatever your folder you are, wherever your Scorpion's at. And let's go ahead and name this walk. And then go ahead and click export all. So I'll just quick go over those settings again. All we've done is we've made sure animation's turned on. We've checked bake animation. Okay. We have unchecked deformed models. And that's it. And then go ahead and click export all. It should throw an error. It always does. Yeah, none of that scares me. Just said it baked the animation and then it changed the curve type, which is fine. Okay, everybody with me so far?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all we've done is export an animation. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up the rig file. So you've got in there Scorpion rig final. Scorpion rig final. Go ahead and open that up. And I will cross the walk off of our list here. Exported. Now we are going to focus on the rig. So when you're in Unreal, Unreal takes animation files separately than it takes the character file itself. So you can have a bunch of animations that you apply to a character, right? So now we need the character file. Let's go ahead and export this guy just as is. This is going to be a different export process. So go to File, Export All. And this time we're going to turn animation off. Actually, sorry, no we're not, just kidding. Make sure animation's turned on, but turn bake animation off. Since there's no animation that we need to bake, that's going to be off. Okay, and again, we are down in files of type. We're still on FBX export. My settings just popped right in like that, so I'm assuming yours did as well. We're going to turn on deformed models under animation, or under deformed models. Yeah, make sure that's turned on. And then all the way up at the top under geometry, we're going to turn on something called smoothing groups. Okay, on geometry we're going to turn on something called smoothing groups. And what smoothing groups is like on the polygons there's what's called normals, and the normals are how the light affects the edges which makes it look like it can either have a soft or hard edge, and we want to retain that information. So we've got smoothing groups turned on under geometry. Animation is turned on. Bake animations turned off. Deformed models are turned on. And the last thing we want to do is under embed media, go ahead and turn embed media on. Okay, that's going to be under, it's going to be under embed media. Okay, and go ahead and name this Scorpion. Actually, let's name this Scorpion 2, the number 2 Unreal. Okay, Scorpion 2 Unreal. And I'm just gonna run, and then go ahead and export it if you're confident. If you're not, I'll run through the settings just one more time. Under geometry, smoothing groups is on. Animation is turned on, so deformed models can show up. Turn on deformed models. Uncheck bake animation. We're not exporting animation. And the last setting is embed media. Turn that on. Then go ahead and export. Alright. So we've got our character file exported. Alright. So the next step here is we need an idle. Okay, we are going to do something very, very simple for the idle. So go ahead and grab the central controller on this guy and tap W, and we can kind of drag that around. Okay. And let's go ahead and save this scene as idle. So file save scene as, and we'll just save it as a Maya binary and call it idle. Put it in that same folder where you're sticking everything. Okay. So let's give this guy a 30 frame idle animation. So change the frames at the bottom, the end frames, from 24 to 30. So down here, it'll say 24 to 30. So far we should have, it should be 0, the first frame is 0, and the last frame is 30. Okay, you change your frames down here. Alright, and just a little refresher on setting some keys for this guy. To set a key is the S on your keyboard. Alright, so let's set 3 keys, one at 0, 15, and 30. Okay, 0, 15, and 30. So to do that, and we're going to set them on this main controller here for this guy. So just select that, and just where he's at right now, just on frame 0, tap S. Then on frame 30, tap S. Then on frame 15, tap S. So we're going to set 3 keys, 0, 15, and 30. Okay. Alright, so then what I want you to do is open your graph editor, your animation graph editor. Go to Window, Animation Editors, Graph Editor. Window, Animation Editors, Graph Editor. Okay. And with that central controller selected, we want to turn on infinity again, which is what we did for the walk last time. That's going to be under View in the graph editor. So go to View Infinity, infinity. And what that's going to do is make it to where our animation like loops from front to back before and past 0 and 30. Okay? View infinity. And then we also want to go to curves, and it's really important to make sure that controller is selected while we do this. Go to curves and pre-infinity cycle and post-infinity cycle. Turn those on. Curves pre-infinity cycle and curves post-infinity cycle. What that's going to do is just make it to where that's going to make it to where that before frame 0 it is looping forever, and after frame 30 it is looping forever. Okay? Okay. Now, what we're going to do is something similar to what we did last time when we did some of the rotates on the tail. What I want you to do is, let's get you a little quick familiar here with the graph editor. So what I like to do is put my little guy over here to the left and make my graph editor nice and big, right? So I can get kind of some access to these keyframes here. And you can move around in the graph editor just holding Alt on your keyboard and using your mouse buttons. You can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. You can also zoom to extents by hitting F. If you tap F, it's going to zoom to extents in the graph editor. You want it nice and big. And what we're going to do is, what I want you guys to do is just watch in here real quick. Just sit back and just watch this real quick, and then I'll have you guys do it, okay? I'll just run through it. It's super simple. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a box over all 3 keyframes, and it's going to show the handles for each one of these keyframes. And I can bend these handles like this. So what I'm going to do is I want to select all 3 handles at the same time, all right handles. Then I'm going to tap W on my keyboard to move. Hold shift and middle mouse drag down. Actually, I'm not going to hold shift, but I'm just going to middle mouse drag down. And what that's going to do is create this curve by pulling all 3 right handles of the curve. So then when I hit play, he kind of does this. Kind of this breathing type thing. Okay, and I can middle mouse drag and pull these. And I can do that in real time to watch him kind of breathe. Okay, I'll go over that one more time. So again, all I've done, I'm going to grab all 3 frames. It's going to display all the handles on the right or left of each frame. I'm going to hold shift and grab the 3 on the right. Then I'm going to tap W to move, then middle mouse drag down. And he should do this. So everybody go ahead and try that. This is the result that we want here. And you're doing that on Translate Y. Sorry about that. So make sure Translate Y is selected on the left. I'll go over that one more time. So all I'm going to do is drag a box over all 3 keyframes, hold shift, select the right handles of all 3 keyframes, tap W to move, then middle mouse drag down. And the top of my curve and the bottom of my curve hit about 0.2 and negative 0.2. Okay? And we're just getting a little, and then I can hit play down at the bottom here and watch that. Watch that go. And you can middle mouse and drag in real time and pull it bigger or pull it smaller, which is really kind of cool. Does anybody need me to go over that one more time? It's not a big deal at all if I do that.
I just need a refresher on how to make the thing smaller again, the grid.
grid?
Yeah, so to do that, you just click F. Make sure the grid is nice and big on your screen here. And if you're having some issues just playing the animation in real time, you want to make sure that under Windows, Settings and Preferences, under Time Slider, yours is set to playback speed of 30 FPS times 1. And then in Settings as well, under Animation, make sure Evaluation Mode is set to DG. Okay.
No, mine's doing that thing where it's like really, like, let's see, just tap F. Okay, so we're gonna do this, hold shift. So we're gonna grab the right 3 handles. Let go, tap F. I mean W, sorry. And I'm just gonna pull down. Yeah, no, I got that, but like, how it's, like yours is like 0.1. Yeah, tap F again. So now, see. And why is mine so far down? Tap F. I don't know, but you can adjust it. Because yours all start at the 0. Man, I don't know. Okay. But you can tweak it. I mean, this is
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Cool. That's the thing, guys. When you're animating character, rigging character, or doing anything in 3D, just remember, there's good and there's good enough. You know, one of the things that I learned when I was kind of a 3D artist is that nothing in life is perfect. And so if you try and make everything perfect in 3D, like, it's going to look fake. So sometimes it's good to just take the paintbrush and just go crazy and just let kind of things happen as they're supposed to happen. I don't know if you guys know what the hell I'm talking about, but I'm trying here. Okay. All right, so this is where we're at. Everybody with me? Everybody got a little bob animation here? That's all we're doing. Okay. So that's kind of a cool little trick to where you don't have to animate every single frame, which is nice. Okay, so that's all we're going to do for our idle. We're not going to go too crazy. We're just going to give him a little bob. Okay, so go ahead and save your scene. Control S. And let's go to File, Export All. Make sure you're on FBX. And we are going to export this idle animation. Okay. So File, Export All. Definitely make sure you save this. We've already saved it as idle, so just hit Control S. Alright, so under your settings, we need to switch these back to animation settings. So you're going to uncheck Deformed Models. File, Export All. Uncheck Deformed Models. And we want to turn on Bake Animation. And we want to turn off Embed Media.
Do we want to turn off, what was it, smoothing group?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
That doesn't matter. You can't. The problem is with this exporter, you can't turn off geometry. So I think it always kind of exports the geometry. It's just when you go to import it into Unreal, that's when you can tell it to either pull the geometry in or just animation in.
Oh.
But we can turn off deformed models, which is cool. It saves us some time in the exporter. It doesn't export skins. Okay, so we've turned on Bake Animation. We have turned off deformed models, and we have turned off embed media. Okay, now we are going to export this as idle. idle FBX, just idle, it doesn't matter, and then export all. Okay. All right, so we got our idle down here. Okay, now we just need jump start, jump loop, and jump end. Jump start, jump loop, and jump end. Alright, so let's open back up the Scorpion rig final. Forget this idle animation. So open up Scorpion rig final. And then let's go ahead and launch Unreal. So on your desktop, there's something called the Epic Games Launcher. Go ahead and launch the Epic Games Launcher. And you can use any one of your social sign-ins to get your Epic account, or if you have, like, if you've been playing Fortnite, you can get in there with your Epic account. Who in here plays Fortnite?
Paul.
Besides Paul.
I don't play it.
I have never really played a whole lot of Fortnite, to be honest. I just don't feel like it's a very good game, to be honest with you.
I heard the new season, the introduction to it is really cool. There's a cutscene and you start the game with the cutscene. With this new season, it's supposedly kind of different and cool, but I haven't checked it out yet.
Sounds like they're kind of doing some extra.
I don't know how people do the building stuff. The building stuff's really hard. I'd rather hide.
I just feel like I've played a lot better quality multiplayer games in my lifetime.
Yeah. I've had more fun with H1Z1 and PUBG when those are popular.
Alright, so we are going to launch a new project in the upper right. Yellow button, launch new project. And we're going to create a third-person project. Third-person project. So click launch. Big yellow button in the upper right. And that will launch Unreal. So for Halloween, I was a narco.
You weren't Justin Bieber again?
I was not Justin Bieber. Yeah, last Halloween was insane. I actually dyed my hair blonde, and I was Justin Bieber.
Oh my god, I remember that.
And I would show you guys the picture, but I really don't want to embarrass myself this morning. I already did it once, and then, like, I put the picture up on the projector, and, like, half the students in the class took pictures of it. And then there was memes on Discord for, like, the next 6 months.
Oh no!
So, yeah. Alright, so after we clicked a new project here, we're just going to click the third person project button, set a location on the D drive that means something to you, and then name the project Scorpion, and then click create project. Got a new third person project. Okay, so when we first were, like, one of the very first things that we did in this class was we were in Unreal, and if you tap play up in the top in Unreal, you can WSAND the little guy as he runs around, right? And one of the very first things that we did in here was replaced this guy and his animations with with the animations for this guy. Okay, so let's go ahead. We've got most of those animations taken care of here already. We just need to do the jumps, which are always a challenge. So I'm going to try and make it easy here for us, especially since we're creating custom animations to replace these now, as opposed to last time we just downloaded them from Mixmo. So go ahead and click on Content over here, and I want you to do a search for man. You're going to do a search for man, and you're going to see a pink barred guy by the name of SK Mannequin. Go ahead and double click on him. SK Mannequin. And the character editor is going to pop up. And in the upper right, there is a tab called Animation. Go ahead and click that. And down in the bottom right is a list of animations for this guy. Okay, and you can see jump start, jump loop, and jump end. You can click on those, and it does them. And conveniently at the bottom here, it tells you how many frames are used for this. And you don't have to use this amount of frames, but it's good as a general guideline. Okay. So for example, the jump start seems to be about, let's see, it looks like it's about 13 frames. Yep, so I'm just going to mark that down here, jump start 13. And then jump loop seems to be about 20 frames. 20, and then the jump end seems to be 5 frames. Okay, 5 frames. And you can go ahead and hit play on those and kind of see how they look. Jump start is going to be like he's like in motion about to leap, and then he kind of does a leap and settles into his loop. Jump loop, he's just in the air looping. And then jump end, he's coming down, he's about to hit the ground, and then he kind of compresses. Okay, so we're just going to do some quick animations with our guy, our scorpion, that mimic this. Okay, so let's go ahead and minimize Unreal. Let's go ahead and minimize Unreal, and we are going to start with jump start. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this scene immediately as jump start. So file, save scene as jump start, and then go ahead and save that as a Maya binary file, not an FBX. File, save scene as, and we'll call it jump start. And let's go ahead and look at our frames here. So jump start's about 13 frames. So let's go ahead and change our end frame to 13 instead of 24. Okay. And again, looking at that jump start animation, I believe it starts from kind of a compression already, and then it goes into a jump and settles into the loop. So let's move to frame 1, and frame 0. And what we're going to do is click the central controller for this guy. Alright, and tap W, and then we're going to pull it down to where his belly is about touching the ground. Okay, let's pull it down to where his belly's about touching the ground. We're going to exaggerate this a little bit. And then tap S on your keyboard. Let's give it a tap. Okay. And then what I want us to do is go ahead and hold shift. We'll click off all controllers. I want you to shift select all toe controllers. Okay, so shift select all of his toes. And then at frame 0, I want you to tap S on those. Let's set a keyframe on those guys as well. Okay. So far we have set a keyframe on his toe controllers, and we've pulled him down a little bit. Alright. So now, alright, so let's go ahead and move to let me take a look at what we got here real quick. Okay, move to frame 10. Move to frame 10. And then what I want you to do is just grab that central controller for this guy, and you're going to pull it all the way up to 5. Okay, so on the in the channel editor on the right hand side, upper right, you'll see translate Y. Change that to 5. Okay, change that to 5. I'll get you the files here in a second. Just get fired up, open up Maya. Alright, so we've pulled this guy up 5. Now on frame 10, I want you to just tap S. Make sure that central controller is tapped. Okay. Now move to frame 13 and tap S again. Okay. And okay, and now I want you to move back to frame 10 and change it where it says translate Y. Change that on frame 10 to 5.25, and then tap S again on your keyboard. So basically, frame 0 is like, I don't know, negative, it doesn't matter, just the belly's touching the ground, and then frame 10 is going to be 5.25, and then frame 13 is going to be 5. Okay, so if you play it, he kind of goes up and then he kind of settles into his jump. Everybody with me? Frame 10 is 5.25, frame 13 is frame 5. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with the feet. Go ahead and grab all those feet controllers. We're going to do something very similar with the feet. So what I want you to do is grab those feet controllers, move them to frame 10. Okay, actually grab the feet and knee controllers. Grab the feet and knee controllers. The knee controllers are the green controllers that are kind of by his knees. And let's go ahead and set a keyframe for those on frame 0 as well. Okay, so move to frame 0, tap S. Now move to frame 10, and with all those selected, we want to pull those all up. Okay? We want to pull those all up. So as we move these up in the air, Basically what we want to do is we kind of want to move them up to where the legs don't go inside the body. If you like look at the legs, we just don't want them going inside the body here. I'm on frame 10, by the way. And then just go ahead and tap S on your keyboard. What's that? It's only moving the controllers, not the legs? That is bizarre. Holly, do you think you can help her see what's going on? Maybe she's got something else selected. Is she getting that figured out?
Are you saving that on frame 13?
Frame 10 and frame 13. So we're going to set keys on frame 10 and frame 13. Okay, guys? So set keys on frame 10 and set another key on frame 13. Now let's move back to frame 10. Now on move to frame 13. And on frame 13, I just want you to move them down slightly. Okay, just move them down slightly. And set another key. Okay? So far, if you hit play, your animation should look like this. Doesn't look like a jump animation yet, but it will in about 2 seconds. So he kind of jumps up, then he kind of settles. Okay? Alright, so... Alright, so I just want you to select the feet controllers now. Okay? Just feet controllers. And move to frame 4. I'm sorry. Move to frame 0. I'm dumb. I want you to copy frame 0 and paste it on frame 4 for the feet controllers. Okay, so right click on frame 0, copy. Right click on frame 4 and paste. Alright, so when you hit play on that, it still really doesn't kind of look like an animation, a jump animation. So what we want to do is let's go ahead and, let's see how that looks. Yeah, we want to move frame 4 to frame 6. Okay, and the way you do that is if you click on frame 4, if you hold shift and click frame 4, it'll turn red and then you can drag it to frame 6. Okay, so hold shift and click on frame 4 and you can drag it to frame 6. And that way when you hit play, now he kind of leaves the ground a little bit. Just like this. So all we've done is with the toes selected, we've moved frame 4 to frame 6. And if you haven't copied frame 0 to frame 4 yet, you can just copy frame 0 to frame 6 and delete frame 4. It doesn't matter. All we did was shifted it. Alright, it's not the best jump animation in the world, but it's a jump animation. Alright, so let's go ahead and do some tail stuff, just to make this even more fun. Go ahead and grab his tail. I want you to shift select all of the rotate controllers on his tail. Okay, all the way down to the don't select the middle controller. Don't select the middle controller. Okay, so just these. Alright, now let's go ahead and set a keyframe for those on frame 0. and 13. 0, 10, and 13. Setting keys. Alright. Now, so move to frame 0 and go ahead and look at him from a side view here. And what we want to do is just go ahead and start with hit E on your keyboard, tap E, and we want to give his tail a little bit of a compression. So you're going to rotate it forward a little bit. Just rotate it forward a little bit. It's going to rotate all of his little tail controllers. Okay? And then tap S. And then let's move to frame 10. I'm sorry, move to frame 6. And then rotate it even more forward. And tap S. Move to frame 6 and rotate it even more forward. Okay? Then a move to frame 10. And at frame 10, we're going to rotate it backwards just a hair. And tap S. Rotate it backwards just a hair and then tap S. Okay? And if it feels too far when you rotate it backwards, just rotate it a little bit more forwards and then tap S on 10. So it should look something like this. Okay? And we're mostly going to be looking at this from the back, so it doesn't really much matter. Alright, so the last step here we're going to do is, when I look at his jump animation here, and I'm going a little crazy, but that's okay. I'm a little crazy, so. His feet are all in the same height from 10 to 13. And so what I want to do is just vary the heights on those. So move to frame 10 and just vary the heights on those and just tap S on a few of them just to give it some differentiating kind of qualities here. Just make it look a little bit more interesting. And then do the same thing on frame 13. We're just going to vary the heights here. We just want them to look a little bit different when he's in the air. And just set keys on those just to make it look a little bit different. Alright, now let's save our scene, Control S, and let's export it. File, export all. File, export all. Now this scene should be already set up for FBX export. If not, at the bottom where it says Files of Type, click FBX export. And we are going to call this Jump Start. Jump Start. File export all, FBX export, Jump Start. Export all. Alright, so that knocks down our Jump Start. We are almost there, man. Alright, for those of you guys that just walked in, or if for whatever reason you feel like you're behind, I'm putting the files up here. Go ahead and download those files. If you're feeling like you're behind, or if you just walked in.
For the jump loop, should we reopen the final loop?
For the jump loop, we're going to use this file. So we're just going to keep it as is. And if you download this file, it's going to come out in a zip file called Scorpionall. You're just going to right-click that file and extract it, and then open up the jump start animation. Make sure you typed it in right. https://tinyurl.com/y6ylhrkp. That works. Yep, works. Alright, go ahead and download that file and extract it, and then open up jumpstart.mb. Jumpstart.mb. Okay, so we are going to immediately convert this file from jump start to jump loop. So let's save this jump start scene as jump loop. So go file, save scene as, and let's call it jump loop. Save it as jump loop. And as you can see as I go forward here, before I start my animation, I save my files as a different name. And I do that because I have made the mistake 100 times of using an animation and like animating on it and then like hitting save and saving over the animation that I had previously done, so I lost that file, if that makes sense. Okay, so we have saved this as jump loop, okay, and basically what's going to happen here is the jump loop is going to start from the end frame of this animation. So we don't need all this jump animation in here anymore. Okay, so what I want you to do is drag a box over all of the controls for this character. Alright, and move to frame 13 and tap S. Move to frame 13 and tap S. We're going to save a key on frame 13 for all of these controllers. Okay? Now I want you to go through and delete all of the other keyframes, 10, 6, and 0. So you can just right click on those keyframes and delete them. 10, 6, and 0. So right click, delete. Make sure all your controllers are selected. Right click, delete, and right click, delete. So the first frame of this guy is now going to be the last frame of the animation. Okay? Now you can set another keyframe on frame 0 and delete frame 13. So set another keyframe on frame 0 and delete frame 13. So now our first frame is officially the last frame that we are going to create our jump loop animation from. Alright, now let me look at our frames here. That is going to be a 20 frame animation. So set your frame range to 20 frames. Alright, and you do that over here at the bottom. Right now it's at frame 13. Set it to 20 and hit enter. Change both of those. 20 and hit enter. Alright, and all we're going to do for this animation, if I look at how this guy's done his jump loop, he's just floating in the air. That's it. That's all we're going to do. We're going to do a subtle float. Okay? And to do that, all first and end frames of loop animations are the same. So I don't know why I had you delete that 13 frame, but move to frame 20 and select all your controllers and tap S. We want the start frame and the end frame of an animation to be the same. So frame 0 and frame 20 are going to be the exact same. Okay? Alright, so we are going to make this really, really simple. We had done a looping animation at the beginning of an idle using the graph editor. Okay? We're going to use that same technique we're going to use that same technique. So what I want you to do is select the central controller of this guy and shift select all the feet controllers. And I might be going a little crazy here, so let's actually just do the central controller, okay? Just central controller, and then open up the graph editor again. And just do me another favor real quick. Select all the controllers on the character, and let's set another key on frame 10. Select all the controllers on the character and set another key on frame 10. So all we've done so far is we've changed this to 20 frames of an animation, and we've deleted all the keys for the entire animation except for the last frame, and we've selected all the controls, and we've set a key on 0, 10, and 20. That's it. So it doesn't move. You just have 3 keys on 0, 10, and 20. Okay. So now let's go into select the main central controller of the character and open up the graph editor. So Windows Animation Editors Graph Editor. Windows Animation Editors Graph Editor. Alright. And click on Translate Y. Click on Translate Y. And we're going to do that same technique that we did last time, where we grabbed the handles and we moved them down a little bit, and we just gave them a little bit of a bob. Okay? If you can remember how to do that, go ahead and do that. And if you weren't here or whatever, I'll go over it again. So what we're going to do is, all you're going to do is you're going to drag a box over all 3 controllers in here. Make sure you have Translate Y selected. Drag a box over all 3 controllers. Then you'll see handles to the right of each one of those keyframes. You're going to hold Shift and select all 3 handles. Okay? Then tap W to move and drag down to where the guy has a little bit of a bob like this. Okay? Go over that one more time. So you're going to, and you can hit play to see that in real time. You're just going to drag a box over all 3 keyframes, hold Shift and select all 3 right handles, tap W to move, and middle mouse drag down. It's going to bob like this. So I want you guys to do this exact same thing with the feet controllers. Okay? Do the exact same thing with the feet controllers. Exact same thing with the feet controllers. And you can shift select them all and do them all at one time. Okay? And I will go over that. So let's see. I'm going to shift select all my feet controllers. And I can see those all over here, and I'm going to hold Control and select Translate Y for all of them in the list. Hold Control and select Translate Y for all of them all in the list. Translate Y. Now you can see them all right here, so we're going to do all these at one time. Okay, so I'm going to drag a box over every single one of them. Hold Shift and grab the handles for every single one of them. Tap W and middle mouse down. And you can hit play and see how that goes. And I'm just going to make just have it just kind of do like this. Okay? So this time we did them all at one time as opposed to just one curve. Okay. You got it, Paul?
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Let's move on. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to turn on infinity and cycle for all the controls. So do me a favor and select all of the controls here. And it's okay if you haven't finished your animation. Select all the controls. And in your graph editor, go to View Infinity. View Infinity. And then go to Curves, Pre-Infinity Cycle, and Curves Post-Infinity Cycle. Turn those on again. Yes, unfortunately, we have to do it for every single looping animation. Okay? Alright, so now I want you guys just look up here for a second. I want to show you what I'm going to do here. All I'm going to do is stagger these frames in the graph editor. So just kick back for a second and just watch up here what I'm going to do, and then you guys can do it. It's very simple, okay? So I'm going to grab all my feet controllers here, and you look at them, and they're all in the same kind of timeline from 0 to 30. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab like a few of them here, grab the frames, tap W, and middle mouse drag to the right 2 clicks. So now they're kind of staggered. See that? Kind of grab 3 random ones and grab the frames and moved them to the right. So now they're kind of staggered. So it kind of looks a little unique. Are you lost? Oh man, it's probably faster for me just to, honestly, yeah. So what file is that? Jumpstart? What? Oh. I tried to create a tiny URL from a tiny URL. That didn't work. Alright, there's that file. Actually, man, to be honest with you, here, just get this file. Let me just give you this one. And this one is called Jump Loop. There you go, last file. Okay guys, I'm pretty happy with this as is. Go ahead and export it as Jump Loop.
How did you do where you drag them to the, just on the graph editor, you just dragged it up?
You good?
Right? Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I know you got it selected and all that.
Yeah, this is easy. So what I'm going to do is, all I did was I just grabbed 3 random ones, like the front right leg, the left middle leg, and the back right leg. So I just made a triangle there. Okay? And then my graph editor here on the right, I've got my 3 things. I selected all of them. Now tap W to move. And if you hold Shift, you can middle mouse drag to the right 2 clicks. And then if you hit play, they vary up. You got that?
Yep.
Alright.
Thanks.
Now let's export this. Everybody open up Jump Loop. Make sure Jump Loop's and export it as a jump loop. So File, Export All, Jump Loop FBX. And those settings are, when you export it, you want to make sure animations turned on, bake animations turned on, and uncheck deformed models. Everything else should be fine. Okay, save your scene, and now let's open up Jump Start again. Actually, let me think about this. I don't actually think we need to do that. I'm going to show you guys a trick, and you're going to be like, what the hell? Which is really awesome. So we're going to trick it here. So this is done. Okay. I don't know why I called this Jump Start. Should be done or exported. Jump End, we're going to trick it. Okay, so we are ready to go into Unreal. Alright, so let's jump into Unreal. We are done. Done and done, man. You can delete the word man from the filters. And let's go ahead and make a new folder in Unreal. So open up Unreal and make a new third-person project. Make a new folder in Unreal and call it Scorpion. Make a new folder in Unreal and call it Scorpion. And now let's go ahead and make another folder in here and call it Animation. Within Scorpion, yes. So we got a folder called Scorpion, and we have another folder within there called Animation. Okay. I'm sorry. Right click, new folder. Somebody help her. Alright, got a new project. Under content, we have a folder called Scorpion. Within Scorpion, we have a folder called Animation. Alright, so click on Scorpion. Let's go in there and let's import our Scorpion. Click the Import button. Go to the folder where you had exported these files. And you should see all your FBXs there. And we're going to pull in the Scorpion to Unreal file. Scorpion to Unreal. And just go ahead and click Import All on that. Go ahead and click All, and we're going to import, just Import All. And it should throw some errors, but it should come in just fine. Alright, you can double click on that. We can take a look at it. Click F on it. Looks alright. And another thing that we can do is just check the scale. Oh my god. Did you guys ever see that? You guys know what micro machines are?
Yeah.
This is a micro scorpion. So that is going to be too small for us. So let's go ahead and fix that. Double click on the Scorpion 2 Unreal file. Double click on that. Scroll down on the left where it says Import Settings. Expand Asset Import and go to Transform. And you'll see something that says Import Uniform Scale. I don't know. Change that to 100. This is probably going to be too much. Change it to 100. Click Enter, and then up at the top where it says Re-import Base Mesh, go ahead and click that. And now look at how big that is in your... Oh my god! Yeah, that's too big. Okay. So let's change it to 10. And then click re-import. And I don't know, how do you guys feel about that?
Maybe bump him up to like, oh yeah, he's pet size.
Do we want pet size or do we want, we want main character size?
Maybe try like 35.
What is it? You did 50? How about 25? Let's try 25. Trying 25. Oh my god. That feels alright. How you guys feeling about 25? You guys can do it to your heart's extent. If you want to make it, do whatever you want, man. He's actually that's kind of like mini boss size. I feel. It doesn't matter.
I feel like it's either one this size or like 50 if it's small.
Yeah, change it to whatever. I did mine to about 20. That's fine. Looks menacing at 20. Alright, so now let's get some animations in here. Just remember that setting, whether you set it to 20 or 25 or whatever, just remember that setting. So go into the animations folder, animation folder. Alright, now I want you to click actually, we are not going to go into there. Just kidding. Click on content and type in the word man again. Actually, just kidding again. Delete that. Type, go to where it says filters and then turn on animation blueprint. Animation blueprint. Click where it says filters and then turn on animation blueprint. And you will see the third person anim BP. Or you can just, in search, you can reset your filters and you can type in the word third. And you're looking for the third person anim BP. Third person anim BP. Right click on that. And we're going to go to retarget anim blueprints, duplicate anim blueprints, and retarget. And what this is the third person animation blueprint is the blueprint of how the animations are controlled for the character. And the blueprint is like kind of like the code, right? So click that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to transfer all the movement code from Mr. Man over to the Scorpion, okay? And normally what would happen is you would see the source file here, which we can see, and then you'd see a list of all the compatible files, but we have no compatible files because a Scorpion skeleton is completely different than a man skeleton. So there's a checkbox over on the middle called show only compatible skeletons. Uncheck that. Now you will see Scorpion skeleton on the left. Click that. It does not show a preview because it's not. It's just it's different skeletons still. And then go ahead and click retarget. Go ahead and click retarget. Alright, so we have duplicated all the stuff from the man to the Scorpion. I want you to rename that third person Anim BP to Scorpion Anim BP. Okay, rename the third person Anim BP to the Scorpion Anim BP. Okay, Pink Hat, you look like you need some help over there. Uncheck show only compatible skeletons. Bottom. There you go. Click Scorpion, click retarget. Boom. Rename third person Anim BP to Scorpion Anim BP. Now I want you to move all of these new files from where they're at to the animation folder inside the Scorpion folder. I want you to move them there, not copy. And to do that, over on the far left, to the left of filters, is a little 3-menu icon thingy. If you click that, it will expand additional folders on your left. You can click the little arrow for Scorpion, and it will expose animation folder. Then you can click on content, shift select all the files, and drag them into animation. And then click move here. Move here. Okay. And now we are going to swap out some of these animations here for the FBXs that we already have. Okay. And I'm pretty positive we're going to have to change the scale of them, just like we changed the scale when we imported this guy originally. So remember that scale number in your head, whether it was 20, 25, whatever it was. So let's start with the idle, where it says third person idle. Right click on that, re-import with new file, find your idle FBX and open. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and import all these, and then we will we'll scale them. Okay, so just go ahead and pull in your run over the run and walk. So right click on the run, re-import with new file, and then pull in the walk over your run and walk. So same thing for both. Re-import with new file. Then pull in your jump start, jump loop, and jump end. Bless you. Pull in your jump start, jump loop, and jump end. Now the only thing that's tricky about the jump is, for whatever reason, they have named actually, there's nothing tricky about that. Oh yes, there is. Okay, so jump start, jump loop, for whatever reason they have named third person just jump. That needs to be third person jump end. So you can rename that if you want. So where it says third person jump, just change that to third person jump end. Just so it doesn't confuse you. Alright, so then you can import your files over those three. So right click over third person jump start, and I'll pull in jump start. Right click over third person jump loop, pull in jump loop, and then right click on jump end, re-import with new file, and oh, we didn't create a jump end, did we? Alright, well we'll fix that.
You said you like wanted to do a trick it.
I'm gonna do a trick. Definitely gonna do a trick. Okay. Alright, so we need to scale these up first and foremost. So let's double click any one of those files, those animation files, to open up the animation editor here. Now you can scroll down on the left hand side and change the uniform scale of each one of those to match what you had, and then re-import animation, and it will come in the correct size. Oh yeah, he's looking good. Make sure you save it. Save button up in the left hand corner. Go ahead and run through each of those and scale them up. Re-import it. Scale it up. Re-import it. Just run through them one by one until they are all the correct scale. Don't worry about the jump end for now. Make sure you're clicking save in the upper left. And you want to run through all those animations and make sure they are the right size. Alright, everybody done? What happened?
For some reason, super files came out with like really, really huge. But is that
Really, really huge. What's that? 20.
What about your main file? Click on fish. What's that say? So the animations are 20 and the characters are 25? Okay. Can I
always a way to solve a problem. Okay, so now let's go ahead and fix the close out of your animation editor here. And what we're going to do is go back into the contents, the animation folder, and 2 steps left and we will be done. So what I want you to do is duplicate the jump start animation. So right click on that asset and then click duplicate. Right click on the jump start and duplicate it. And we're going to call this duplicate, call it duplicate. Alright. Now, double click on that one. And this is our jump start. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically trick this jump start into thinking that it's a jump end. Okay? And we're going to do a little bit of animation editing in Unreal to save us some time. So what I want you to do is drag the time slider to frame... Well, actually, let's look at what we got here. It's supposed to be 5 frames. So, actually, move to frame 6. Move to frame 6, then right-click on frame 6, and you're going to see remove frame 7 to 14. Remove frame 7 to 14. Click it. So now the file, he just kind of does a jump start here, okay? So now what we want to do is reverse this animation to make it seem like it's a jump end. So we want to reverse it. And I think the way we can do that is if you change the rate scale to -1, enter on the left. And that did not do it. That did not do it. I thought that would do it. So we basically want to revert this animation. And I thought there was a very quick way to do that. But I may be wrong. Yeah, we can try that. Okay, so save this animation and then close out of this animation. And then we're going to export this animation. So right click on it and go to Asset Actions Export. Asset Actions Export. And this one we're going to call, just call it export for now. And just export it. And then right click on the jump end animation and go right click and then do re-import with new file. Re-import with a new file. Click export and click open. And unfortunately, I think that's going to put us right back where we were. Which is not what we want to do. And I thought rate scale was going to do that. Oh, wait a minute. think it is doing that. Am I blind here? Let's try it. Okay, that's what we want. Yeah, I felt like it. Okay, so that's fine. Let's keep it so third person jump end, change it to -1, and then just click save. Man, I thought that's what it was supposed to do. Okay, let's get this guy in the game, and let's get him moving. So, go ahead and click on content, and let's do a search in to the right of filters for third, THIRD, and you're looking for something called the third person character. The little blue one, third person character. Double click on that. Third person characters. This is the blueprint that kind of controls the character. And in the upper left is a little tab called viewport. In the upper left is a little tab called viewport. And you'll see Mr. Mannequin in here, okay? What we want to do is click on Mr. Mannequin, and to the right, swap out his animation blueprint with the scorpion blueprint under animation, and then we want to swap out his mesh with the scorpion mesh. Yeah. So where it says mesh, change from SK Mannequin to scorpion. Where it says mesh, change SK Mannequin to scorpion. And then where it says animation above, it already says use animation blueprint. We just need to change it to use the scorpion animation blueprint. So click the scorpion animation blueprint, and he should commence his idle immediately when you do that. If you didn't rename your animation blueprint to scorpion animation blueprint, it'll say third person animation blueprint still. There'll be 2 of them. Just click each one, and then when the guy starts idling, you've chosen the right one. Okay?
Compile and save.
Yeah, compile and save. What? Yeah, click on the character. Click on the character, and to the right, where it says mesh, click the drop down and change it to scorpion. And then above where it says animation, change the anim class to scorpion anim BP. Scorpion anim BP. Compile up in the top left, close out of this, and then click play. And you can click F11 to go into full screen mode. And it should be doing what you want it to do. And that jump end worked out exactly how we wanted it to, by the way. As you can see, I was a little worried about that, but it's doing it. And it looks like a nice land compression, which is cool.